Hello everyone, this is Anime Savvy, back after, well, we don't talk about that. But the important thing is, I'm back, and I'm here to review the first season of Sword Art Online. Yeah, I know I'm late to the party. I just got done watching Season 1 and I have some opinions on it. I'll be judging the show on 3 metrics: plot, characters, and entertainment. I'll give each of these a score out of 10, 10 being a masterpiece, and 1 being absolutely abysmal. Looking at these numbers, I'll find the average, which will be the final score for the overall show. I will be reviewing the anime, not the light novel, so keep that in mind. There'll also be a brief part of the video that I'll go over spoiler events that I think deserve discussion. I'll give a warning right before, so you can skip forward if you haven't seen the whole season yet. But before we start, let's preface one thing. Whatever I say in this review, whether it's criticism or praise, is just my own opinion. If you think differently, that's honestly great. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. So, without further delay, let's get right into it. First, let's talk about the story. The basic plot of the story is this. In 2022, a virtual reality MMORPG called Sword Art Online, also known as SAO, is released. With the Nerve Gear, a helmet that stimulates the user's 5 senses via their brain, players are able to experience and control their in-game characters with their minds. Wow, this totally can't go wrong. On the day it comes out, 10,000 players log into SAO's cyberspace for the first time, only to discover that they aren't able to log out. The creator of the game, Akihiko Kayaba, appears and tells the players that they must beat all 100 floors of Einkorn to be freed from the game. He also reveals that those who suffer in-game deaths or have the nerve gear forcibly removed out of game will suffer real-life death. The story then follows our main character, Kirigaya Kazuto, better known as Kirito, as he attempts to beat the game, making allies along the way. This premise is what got me hooked on the show in the first place. Unfortunately, it only goes downhill from here. Because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, from here on out, a lot of the storytelling choices are, well, not the best. While I can't go into too much detail in this section, for spoiler reasons, trust me when I say most of the storytelling ranges from average at best to making little to no sense at worst. One of the things I disliked about the show, especially in the earlier episodes, is they would kill off a character I've known for all 5 minutes and then expect me to care. If a writer wants me to feel for a character, they'll usually give me some time to get invested in the character. Here, they kill someone off I have no emotional connection to and they'll think I'll be sad about it. A character would die and I would react like, that's sad, I guess. This could be attributed to the fact that the first few episodes of the anime were paced very quickly and didn't really give me time to identify with the cast or what was happening. I don't know what it was like in the original light novel, but in the anime, I really didn't like the pacing in the first 5 episodes or so. In fact, even after that, the pacing was not what I would call perfect. So, even though I really liked the concept of the story, in my opinion, the way it was presented was pretty mediocre overall. Now for the characters. There are a few I actually like a good bit, and others that I find dreadfully boring. First, let's get the elephant out of the room. But in this case, it's a black-haired, scrawny teenage boy. Yeah, okay, it's Kirito I'm talking about. Okay, so how should I phrase this? Kirito is one of the blandest and most uninspired protagonists I've ever seen in anime, both in terms of design as well as personality. He has no personality, and boy oh boy is he overpowered. To give some context, he's more boring than Tatsumi from Akame ga Kill. Freaking Tatsumi! And in case you haven't seen Akame ga Kill, Tatsumi is pretty boring. But, maybe I could excuse Kirito. I excuse Tatsumi because he was surrounded by infinitely more likable, and in my opinion, even some fairly interesting characters. Unfortunately, SAO doesn't have that. While I do like some characters, they don't strike me as particularly interesting. Take Asuna, for example. While I do like her a lot more than Kirito, she's still not the best. She's actually pretty fun at first, but she kind of goes downhill a bit later on. And in the Fairy Dance arc, her main character trait is,
"Oh, Kirito, help me, I can't do anything by myself anymore."
I promise I'll never do that voice ever again. So, yeah, the main 2 characters aren't exactly the best. There are some okay side characters like Klein and Agil. Agil? This guy. But those characters really are just okay. I like them, but they're really not that special, to be perfectly honest. But one saving grace was the relationship between Kirito and Asuna. For the most part, this was a pretty fun and kind of cute relationship. Their relationship, mostly, developed pretty naturally, which was nice. Also, on another note, I hate Nobuyuki with every fiber of my being. If you've seen the show, you know what I mean. Okay, so this is the section that if you've watched the show, you've been anticipating. I will be going over several spoiler events in the series, so if you haven't seen the entire first season yet, then skip to the timestamp that's on the screen right now. I'll wait. Okay, is that going? So, now, let's get into it. The first spoilerific event that I want to talk about has to do with a certain little girl that happens to be a sentient AI. Yeah, I'm talking about Yui. While she was neat at first, she led into one of my least favorite moments of the series. This is the moment where Yui was getting killed off. You know, both Kirito and Asuna were mourning her. It's a very sad scene. Then the writers decided to undercut this by Kirito becoming a techno genius, pull some programming skills out of his butt, and manage to store Yui's heart in his inventory. This just showed the audience that Kirito would suddenly know a new skill when it was convenient, therefore removing all sense of threat from there on out. But that wasn't the moment that got me the most mad. This was. The scene where Kirito wakes up in the hospital. This made me mad because he allegedly died, which is supposed to result in a real-world death, but then he just woke up from the game. It wasn't even explained, so that makes me wonder, why? Why did this happen? It doesn't even make sense. Now to something a bit different. Let's talk about Suguha, the cousin and adoptive sister of Kirito. I liked her as a character, until the writers had to make it weird. I'm talking about Kirito and her. For one, there was always this weird, tension between them every time they were in the same room together. The kind that you shouldn't have with your freaking cousin. And then you had the part where she entered Alfheim Online, met Kirito, didn't know it was him, and developed a crush on him. Then, when she found out it was him, got mad, and said this.
I betrayed the feelings I had. I betrayed the love I felt for you.
It's time to stop!
Okay, could you not do this? And lastly, I want to talk about the second and last arc of this season, that being the fairy dance arc. I definitely think this is much worse than the first arc, though not as much as I expected. I already stated that I didn't like Asuna in this arc, but you know who I hate with a passion? Nobuyuki himself. He's not just unlikable, he is borderline revolting. It leads to the scene in episode 24, you know the one I'm talking about, where he, sexually assaults Asuna. It made me low-key disgusted when I saw it, which at least made it satisfying to see him get defeated, but still. So I think those are the spoiler events that I found worth mentioning. There are some more I would like to talk about, but if I did, this review would be 30 minutes long. So, now on to entertainment. I'll say it right now, this is where it succeeds the most. I can say I was consistently entertained by the show, one of the reasons being that the fights are actually very well animated. Not to mention a pretty good soundtrack, although when it does come to the animation, it does sometimes use CGI, like this, or this. Oh god, is that really in there? I forgot it looked that bad. But overall, some very enjoyable fights. Overall, the show is actually pretty fun to watch. Now, for the moment of truth, as I reveal all the numbers. I gave the story a 4.5, the characters a 5, and entertainment a 7. All of these numbers result in an overall score of 5.5, and I honestly think that's fair. To describe this show, it is very average. The characters in the story can be very meh, although it is quite entertaining. So, would I recommend this? It depends. If you just want some dumb fun that you don't have to think too much about, and if you haven't seen much anime, then I do recommend it. But if you want something a bit deeper and something to really think about, especially if you've watched a substantial amount of anime, I can't say I recommend it too much. But hey, that's just my opinion. While the show may have not gotten the best score, there is something that will. And that is subscribing to this channel. It's a 10 out of 10 experience, in my opinion. So yeah, you should do it. That way you'll be notified every time I post a new anime review, or any video of any kind. Also, feel free to press the like button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to comment down below with your thoughts on Sword Art Online. This has been Anime Savvy, and I'll see you next time.